Alright, hey y'all, welcome back to Sitting with Ashley. I'm Ashley. We got the internet back and our heater's on, so we're good to go. I wanted to get on here and talk about, like, Christian theology and how when we think that someone's coming to save us, it actually is, like, super detrimental, right? So I think that, let's back up. Okay. Let's talk about, okay, so religion is one of the main reasons that land has gotten colonized, or it's been a very important, for lack of a better word, part of colonization, right, for ever. And especially Christian ideologies about Jesus coming back, right? So I live in a pretty religious area of the United States. I think most people do. And I think what's important to talk sorry. I think what's important to acknowledge is how it's used. Okay, so this idea that Jesus is coming back is further perpetrated by believers, right? Because it's like your God is coming back, right? I remember so that's carried over into politics, right? And a lot of people do truly believe that Donald Trump is like the second coming of Jesus. Okay, they are called QAnoners. They believe that he's a savior, right? So let's talk about when, in the times of slavery in the United States, Black folks who were enslaved were not allowed to read. And if they did read, it was a Bible, okay? And that bred, for lack of a better word, because yes, breeding was actually a part of that as well. But it made sure that they didn't believe in their own ability to liberate themselves, quite frankly. And then we can talk about the residential schools too, with indigenous folks, Native Americans, people who are from this land, right? Who are not colonizers. Church and Catholicism and Christianity tore their families apart, right? And also took from their beliefs. And that still is happening today. There are still people who are indigenous who are not allowed to practice their own beliefs, right? And who have joined churches and do believe in Christianity or religious ways, right? In the form or in the context of Israel, right, we know that what they're doing is also because of their religious beliefs, right? And they are saying that that the Torah said that this is their land, right? Oh my god. So, a couple things. We need to remember that the books that people use for religion are written by humans, ultimately. I live in an area with a lot of Mormons as well, so I don't really know their stance on anything, except I do know that they're pretty supremacist in the sense of, like, they say that the Book of Mormon is, like, the here-all, be-all, even though they believe in the Bible too. I don't know. Not my jam. But what I do want to talk about is how that's carried over into politics, and how it keeps people divided, because that's what I'm really noticing right now today, the conversations that are coming out. I think that when you give your power away to someone else, regardless of what it is, if it's a religion, if it's a politician, if it's a celebrity, however it is, whenever you have an imbalance of, it's like a worship. Don't do that. First of all, when, like, no one's coming to save you, you know, like, I'm not trying to say, like, you're wrong, you know, but, like, we all have, like, the ability to come into Christ consciousness if that's what you so choose. And regardless, I've studied world religions all over. Now, while most of the religions that are currently on the planet are monotheologian, they believe in one God, right? I think that can be really harmful, and it causes people to give up their power, and that's done by design. Okay, I think I just keep saying the same thing. So what I think we need to think about is, if you had the power that you give to whatever it is you worship, right? So like, instead of asking for someone else to come down to save you, instead of voting someone into office to save you, what can you do for yourself? Like, you have the power. We all do, right? And I think religion and politics are like, they go together, right? And so when we focus solely on giving our power to something that we want to save us, regardless of, it can go for like interpersonal relationships too. There's a certain codependency within that. And that's how the powers that be remain in power, because you're constantly giving your energy and your power to someone else, hoping that they'll save you. And I don't care what you believe, to each their own, truly. But I think that we need to remember that we have our own power. We are living beings just like everything, right? But it's really easy to see, especially these conversations. Hang on, let me go grab something. I'll be right back. I gotta do something. Hang on. Okay. When we ooh, my little bowl. When we give our power away, that means that it's up for grabs, right? That means someone else can swoop on in and tell us how to live, enslave us into systems, and that shit has all been done by design, right? So when you give your power away, if you haven't seen this chart yet, this is the hierarchy, essentially, of how the United States works. I don't even think religion's on here. It should be. Oh, I'm getting hot. Hang on. So, why did I need these? I don't know. Oh yeah, we could talk about this. So this is Foucault, if you don't know Foucault. So I think when we think about, so the reason I'm really wanting to talk about this is I'm in this, I saw a Facebook post by someone in this community who is a Christian. That's Niall, he's just stimming, chill out. And they made a post the other day, and she's a mother, and she said something about, oh my gosh, are you guys seeing what Israel is doing right now, right? Like, excitedly. They're preparing for whatever it is they're doing. They're trying to build this kingdom, right? I have a sticker over here. You cannot build a holy land on the mass graves of other people's children, right? Which is this entire country. Most of the world has been colonized by religion, right? When I was doing my research in the esoterics course about world religions, I found it fascinating that most of South America is Christian? Catholic? I think they're Catholic. I made this cute map. If anyone wants a copy of this, let me know. These are the religions in the regions. Africa has the most diversity, which is great. That's what we want. The main religion in South America is Roman Catholicism, which is practiced in nearly every country in the region. This is largely due to the Spanish and Portuguese colonization of the area and the Roman Catholic missions that accompanied it. Catholicism has been blended with the practices of the Native Americans and Africans, resulting in the unique festivals such as Mexico's Day of the Dead, which was it's November 1st. So Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are the three big ones, right? But those are all one God religions, okay? And like in the ancient times, there were gods for like thunder. There was a thunder god, right? This is specifically like ancient Egypt. There was a god, there were different gods, right? And it was, I mean, it's everyone's opinion, right? To each their own, but like, when you believe in one thing and one thing only to give you salvation, and that thing is not you, and you're the one living a life, you're gonna run into some issues. And I just think it's really interesting how people can put so much faith into something that is literally enslaving and causing genocide, right? Like, I could never get on board with that, right? That's just me, though. Freedom. We have to get to a place where we liberate ourselves, right? So, like, the Bible that slave masters gave to enslaved people was also different than, like, the one that they had, okay? And it, like, taught them to obey their master, right? So, like, when I'm not laughing at the situation, I'm laughing at how that has evolved through the years and how people don't even notice, right? And, you know, throughout history, people have come along and have tried to liberate people, but ultimately, if you don't believe in yourself and you believe in something outside of yourself to grant you salvation, to come and save you or whatever, which is a lot of this Trumpism, right? And let's call it an ism because it is pretty much a sickness. To each their own, you know, but ultimately we know what the man speaks about. We know what his shit is. We know what he is, what he's about. Whoa. Anyway, just want to remind you that you have the power to change things for you. And if you wait for someone else to do that, regardless of if it's interpersonal or larger, you're gonna be fucked. Right? Let's learn from what people have already experienced, right? And then I want to remind you of these are the 10 stages of genocide. So classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization. There's lots of shuns. Are they all shuns? Almost. Polarization. I can't read that one back. Preparation, persecution, extermination, denial. So when we start seeing this shit play out in the United States at a larger scale, because genocide never left this country, and I think that's something that people are really missing in their education, right? The black folks who were enslaved by the slave masters are still, you know, they were promised in the Emancipation Proclamation 40 acres and a mule, right? Their own land. Well, whose land is that? It's native folks to indigenous people in this country, right? There's over I think it's 532, but I could be wrong. There's 532 federally recognized tribes, like different groupings of Native Americans in this country. And this is their land, right? So they were promised someone else's land. And then we get inner fighting, right? We get people who, and that's one thing that the powers that be, and I think that's why I grabbed this, because they're always going to keep these motherfuckers up here, always want these people down here to be at arms with each other. Okay? And they do that through religion, they do that through miseducation, they do that through classism and racism, and you know, they go through all of these things for I swear to God I've done this before, for each of these groupings. So if you can't see that, these are different divisions: race, religion, class, labor, education, sexuality, gender, marginalized folks, right? Oppressed people. And then you have this wrong right here: teachers, doctors, artists, lawyers, public sector. And so this one is what Foucault talks about with the judges of normality, right? We are present the judges of normality are present everywhere. We are in the society of teacher-judge, the social worker-judge. It is on them that the universal region of the normative is based, which essentially is just like these people are put in these positions to keep folks who are down here even more. And yes, they can, there is not a perfect science. It's not like no black people are in any of these positions, no brown folks are, right? But this is how the system is upheld, by keeping these folks at each other through the system, right? Through that normality. Because they are going to always classify, right? That's their job, is to classify who's good and who's bad, right? Because it's all for one, or all for, to each their own, but like, not in a good way. Anyway, whenever he may find himself subject to his body, his gestures, his behavior, his aptitudes, his achievements, blah, blah, blah. This is the carceral theory of Foucault. This is the main theory I used in my master's thesis. And it's just carceral just is like prison, right? And there's a lot of people, the language of like prison planet has really come a lot in the few past years, right? In a mechanism of objectification in the space of domination, and disciplinary power manifests its potency essentially by arranging objects, right? So if we objectify people, which is the process of genocide, but we have each other do it, so then we get pushed up here, right? We're never going to reach these statuses, right? But you can get pushed around on the bottom rungs, right? That's the hierarchy. And the hierarchy comes from worshiping a one God, all right? That's the whole point. And a male God at that, right? When women are the ones that hold life in their bodies and have the portal to bring life onto the planet. That's the patriarch, okay? So I just want us to have a common understanding as we endure another 4 years of Donald Trump, of what happens when you give your power away. Okay, when you want someone else to save you instead of doing and making your own decisions because you have your own belief system, right? You have your own morals. And there's also a difference between morals and ethics too. Let's talk about that. Morals are more based in religious ideologies, and ethics are like humans know, right? You know what's right and wrong. But then morals tell you another story, right? When you read those religious Bibles or religious books. I keep getting rejected, lost, and fragmented. And this is where we all are as a collective, right? Guarded and vulnerable. But instead of giving our power away, we need to reclaim that power, right? And this channel is all about the power, or the process of reclamation. Reclaiming your agency, reclaiming your beliefs, reclaiming your humanity, right? Because we're not better than each other. Again, nature has all of these different things on display, including humans. And instead of, I'm so happy this card came out. Change and courage. We have to have the courage to change. And also chaos. On the third eye, too, no less. Right? And that speaks to this right here. This is on the bottom of the deck. The confusion of the illusions is because it was made by design to keep people at ends, right? To keep people policing each other, right? When we talk about revolution, we talk about evening this playing field, right? Removing the hierarchy, which is, again, back to indigenous ways of life, right? Capitalism is not sustainable. It's been what, less than, I mean, when was the Industrial Revolution? Wasn't it at like the turn of the 19th century or something? Comfort zone clinging. This is what happens, is people cling on to what's comfortable, their own comforts. And that's what we saw last night. We saw this huge division of people who, there were people who didn't want Donald Trump to win, people who wanted Trump to win, and then there were people who didn't want either of candidates to win. Myself is in that third group, right? I didn't vote for either of them because I'm not clinging to something that I know is fucking crazy and doesn't work anymore, right? That's the definition of insanity, coined by Albert Einstein. When you keep doing the same motherfucking thing over and over again, you will go crazy if you are expecting a different result. Okay, so we said no more genocide. We don't want any more of this shit. And we did, some of us did take that courage to make a change, right? And we knew what was at stake. But, again, Republicans and Democrats are two fucking wings of the same bird, alright? And that bird for the fucking seal of the United States has the damn Israeli star right on it. The fucking logo of this country has it right there. So, collectively, we are going through a dark night of the soul. You have to do your own work. And that's the thing that religion will continue to tell you, is that as long as, you know, as long as you pray, as long as whatever. No, fuck that. You don't need to go to religion. You don't need to give 10% of your fucking paycheck. You don't need to go to confessional and fucking have these fucking nasty ass motherfuckers masturbating to your sins either. You need to do your own motherfucking work. You need to get yourself a goddamn journal, and you need to write down what it is that you want to change about yourself, what you know you can do better, and the ways that you can show up in your own goddamn life. And that's going to be like a tower moment. That's the process of coming into consciousness, though. Alright? Once you know better, you do better. That's it. That's all. Alright? I got 4 minutes. Let's pull some more cards. Bitch. Alright, let's talk about this. Discipline makes individuals. It is the specific technique of a power that regards individuals both as objects and as instruments of its exercise. It is not a triumphant power. It is a modest, suspicious power which functions as a calculated but permanent economy. Ugh, Foucault is really wordy. I know, it's hard. What that means is that when you have a teacher policing, right? And we're using the term policing because that's what it is. So that teacher judge, social worker judge, doctor judge, that's the society in which we live. Okay, Foucault is from, I don't know, the 70s, maybe. But when you have people constantly at each other, right? And then like whispering, right? You don't take that shit to God. And that's the thing, is like, you all fucking believe in like this one God and he's the only one that can judge, right? But please walk the talk, right? Because y'all are down here on this planet fucking being like, I'm the judge. And that's the carceral system, that's capitalism, and that's what we're experiencing in the result of yesterday. So ultimately, we need to ask for the people in our lineage to support us if they're able to. And if you have colonial lineage, look at some of my other shit, because you might be the black sheep in your family, you might be the one changing and breaking the cycles, as am I. But if you're not a white person or have colonial lineage, then reach out to your ancestors. And I like to think of that one scene in Lord of the Rings, the last fucking movie. I'm almost done, I know, I'm getting passionate. The last fucking scene of the Return of the King, where they have that big ass battle and the spirit realm all show up, and it's just like a fuck ton of like enlightened beings, right? We might not be there yet. Okay. facade and beliefs and decisions. So we have to, you know, you can't give up after this, okay? Because you can't run around and be all butthurt that you didn't get your way about this, okay? We gotta put in the work, both personally, interpersonally, communally, globally, right? We organize locally and we build locally. No, we organize locally and build globally. This song is not... Let's listen to this one. Okay, what else from these? Right? We were listening to Fuck Donald Trump and Niall was jamming. Alright, traditionally power was what was seen, what was shown, what was manifested. Disciplinary power, on the other hand, is exercised through its invisibility. At the same time, it imposes on those whom it subjects as a principle of compulsionary visibility. It's a whole fucking lot of words to say that these stages of genocide are always held up by the system, okay? And with Donald Trump becoming president again, we're gonna see a lot of this happening to a lot of these. Okay? Don't be a part of that. Be a part of the solution. Alright. Oh, I'm gonna run out of time. Bye!